Now to Carnarvon in Western Australia and what some locals have referred to as the forgotten floods. For the Gascoyne Region, one of the wettest cyclone seasons on record came after years of drought, and now as its horticulture and pastoral industries begin a slow recovery, they're facing a new blow, locusts. Not that you'll hear any whinging though. It may have caused an estimated $100 million damage, yet remarkably not a life was lost in the worst floods to hit the region since settlement.
At Warramul Station in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia, they're counting their blessings and watching their stock grow fat.
It's just come away beautifully, thickened up, and it'll be here for quite some time, at least 18 months to 2.5 years, I would say. We've got growth to keep going. They only need a small amount of rain to keep it ebbing along, which is very good.
Warramul's feed bounty is a rare ray of sunshine in a year of gloom for the Gascoyne. Successive floods have caused $100 million in loss and damage. A week before Christmas, the region had 227 millimetres of rain in just 24 hours, 100 times the December average. It caused the Gascoyne River to record its biggest flood since settlement, cutting off the Northwest Highway and devastating the Carnarvon food bowl. 3 months later, the floodwaters had receded, but much of the damage remained. About 100 growers were affected. On this property alone, around 30,000 cubic metres of topsoil was swept away. Farmers such as veteran banana grower John Thomas are still counting the cost.
Well, you see, there's a bunch of bananas here. Now, what happens when most of them, they got too much water and they fell. But you can see how high the watermark is right up to there on this one, and this has matured and started to fall down enough. So it was probably right over up the top there in the first place. So when you take it down and wash it, it just comes back out brown again. So when they gas them to get them ripe or bring out the colour in them, it's still brown. So if you've got bananas out of a good plantation, they've got none of that there. You've got nice yellow ones, you've got these brown ones from there, so people will reject them. That's where it was. This was holding it back. The water was pelting in here, and it hit here and took everything off the veranda as it went that way.
John Thomas has weathered many storms in his 72 years, but this year's flood was the first to hit the house he's lived in since 1953.
My son has been going through Europe, and I've got family records from years and years. Look at all these photos in here, are just absolutely ruined. As you can see, the levels where it came up into there, and we had cupboards or anything that was built with chipboard just falls to pieces. The government was going to give you $5,000 for the house. It will go nowhere. I'm not complaining. It was better than a kick in the bum, but see all of those things there. Look at this. You can't put the bottom drawer back in there. This one here, the same thing. All these ones are buckled on the bottom. Every one of them. There's still mud in the dishes in there. You got to say, some sort of housekeeper after 3 months.
After some initial confusion, the state and Commonwealth governments matched the disaster relief offered to Queensland and Victorian farmers. But a second flood in February has slowed the recovery. It took nearly 3 months for conditions to improve enough for Peter van Beuzekom to get to the wettest parts of the 42 hectares of table grapes. 90% of its fully ripened crop was ruined.
Powdery mildew is our #1 enemy, even in a year like this, dry year. But when you get wet conditions and no sunlight in there, it just takes off. It's rampant. And it gets into next year's buds.
So when will you know what any lasting impact is?
Not till next spring. We've got some people over east who are willing to analyse the buds. They can slice the buds open microscopically and have a look in the microscope to see how fruitful they are, and we'll probably do that.
On other plantations, the biggest problem has been the loss of an estimated 200,000 cubic metres of topsoil. Eddie Smith